I can't sing the rest of it. I'll probably get copyright claimed within an instant for that. So cool thing about the streaming platform I'm using right now, StreamYard, is that they've updated it where I can now play videos directly from my PC. Like I always use the laptop, but like just whatever I have on file, I can play. So if there's anything like we talk about that is like truly specific, I will have the video for that probably somewhere. I mean, I literally have I literally have what you call it, so many videos of Star Wars, like Clone Wars stuff, the movies, files for everything. Every Star Wars YouTuber does, but like even behind the scenes stuff. So if you guys want to watch the Force Awakens documentary while we talk about this, we can. Probably would get copyright claim for that, so I would just kind of go through it, but still. Oh yeah, and yeah, today is Super Bowl Sunday, so wanted to do this before the Super Bowl started. It starts at 6:30 my time, Eastern Standard Time, and it is 4:30 right now. So I wanted to do about an hour, maybe an hour and a half, depending on how good the stream goes before it started. And I know maybe not a lot of you Star Wars fans are into football. I'm not anymore. I used to be a really big football fan. As you guys know, I lived in Texas for a while. Well, not for a while. I lived there basically all 21 years of my life and moved here to Orlando this past year. But when I lived in Texas, for a good part of my high school journey, if you will, like maybe 3 or 4 years of high school, except maybe the last year. No, even senior year. I was a pretty big fan of football, and mainly the Dallas Cowboys, of course. And that's because that's a big deal in Texas, which is funny because I do think the Dallas Cowboys have they're the most hated team, but also the most loved. Like they have the most fans and they also have the most haters. And I was a big fan of them for a while. And then they got rid of Tony Romo, and the entire Dallas Cowboy fan community like just turned on him. So I was just like, you know what? Fuck you guys. I really lost a lot of respect for Star Wars, or not Star Wars fans, Cowboy fans, and still do. So I'm no longer a big football fan. Got really political when everybody started kneeling for the flag and whatnot. And then what else happened? Everything's like a penalty nowadays. And then one thing I realized when I watched football, like I did a test like 5 games in a row for one season. I think it was the 2017 season where I was watching and I was like, you know what? When it comes to when the ball's actually in play, when we actually do football, that is maybe about like 5 minutes out of the 4 hours that I'm watching this fucking game. All right, 4 hours is a lot, but still, like the games go on for hours and hours, and it's like, bro, isn't like it's like what 15 minutes a quarter? Maybe 20, and you guys take fucking forever. You know, you go out of bounds, you stop the time clock, and we spend more time talking about the plays, and the plays actually happen. So it's a lot. It's a lot. Jay and T Cobb says, what are your thoughts on Cosmonaut Variety Hour? Fuck, do I know who that is? Let me see if I can look him up. Oh, is he the guy who said like Return of the Jedi sucks? No, why you should watch Clone Wars and all that. Oh God, I googled him and 1 million subscribers, attaboy. And of course, fucking Anomaly Inc. made a critique on his fucking his fucking prequel videos. It says Revenge of the Prequels, Cosmonaut Variety Hour, dissecting a dumbass. Holy shit. All right. Yeah, I don't have much of an opinion on him, I guess. I don't think I've watched many of his videos. Jealous of his thumbnails, though, bro. My thumbnails are the worst. I'm thinking about hiring a thumbnail editor. Clone Wars Season 7 didn't need 12 episodes. He's not wrong there. Watching Twilight for the first time, not clickbait. He's got a good thing going for him. Good for him. Comment star, know you're a Cowboys fan. We're supposed to be enemies. I'm an Eagles fan. Oh, dude. Yeah, no offense, man. Out of every, like, if there was one specific group of football fans I can get rid of, I would say Cowboy fans, just the toxic ones, or just in general, just because there's so many. But man, you Eagles fans, brother, you guys booed a fucking Santa Claus. Like, I don't know what you guys got going on up there, but y'all are just batshit crazy when it comes to football. I guess there's nothing else to do up there in Philly. City of brotherly love. I don't know. Someone tagged Star Wars Theory. Do you do martial arts? I don't know. Does he do martial arts? That'd be kind of cool. He comes out of nowhere. He's like, yeah, I'm a judoka, and I've been one for a few years. And if you don't know, judoka means judo player who likely has a black belt. Normally, you make that title when you have that. If you're asking me, though, I'm assuming so. I do martial arts. Yes, I have a black belt in it's Taekwondo, but it's like American Taekwondo, so it's kind of kickboxing. Not really, though. I did the katas and whatnot. I have a yellow belt in judo, and then I've been a white belt in jiu-jitsu for like 5 to 6 years now. But I'm trying to get my blue belt. And for anyone who doesn't know anything about jiu-jitsu, it takes longer to get a belt in there because there's so much you have to learn, but it's also like karate was like 10 belts. Like there's like 10 fucking belts. You start off at white, you go yellow, then orange, then green, then blue, then purple, then brown, then red, black, then black. And some styles are completely different. But then jiu-jitsu, it's white, blue, purple, brown, black. None in between. But if there's any other color, it's because you're a kid. That's probably about it. Have you read the sequel trilogy concept art books? I have not. I don't care much for the concept arts. I should more than I do. For me, I'm just like, pretty picture. Like, I don't know. Some of it's not that interesting, but they do reveal a lot of behind the scenes stuff. So I should get into that a little bit more. But yeah, I've never really bought a book and given it too much attention. Cake on Fire. What are your thoughts on Lego Star Wars: The Freemaker Adventures? I have no idea what that is. Is that something that's on Disney? They have like Disney Channel Lego Star Wars stuff where it's like stories and episodes that are like 15 minutes a pop. They're just cute. Like that's really all they are. But no, I have not seen that. You know how to ooh to him says Philly as a city sucks. Everybody in PA and the Mid-Atlantic knows this to be true. Funny thing about that, when I moved out here to Orlando, I met a guy from I guess Philadelphia, because he was like he the way he said it was PA, and I'm from Texas, so whenever we talk about Texas, we don't go, yeah, I'm from TX, it's like, no, I'm from Texas. And he goes, yeah, no, everyone just, everyone from PA calls it PA. I'm like, what the fuck is a PA? Like, what is that? You have a personal assistant or something like that? So yeah, he was making jokes about that for a while. Comet Star says the Eagles fans can be a little wild. We almost destroyed our city when we won the Super Bowl. I do remember that. Oh my God, I remember that. I think who did y'all beat for that? I remember that game and just being like, I pray to God they lose because I don't think that city deserves a win. But nothing's changed, I guess. Buck Nasty says we should roll. I'm a first degree white belt. I don't think there's degrees in white belts, buddy. We get stripes. So if you're a first stripe white belt, I think I have 3 or 4. Dude, I'm not trying to flex. I should be a blue belt by now. I just focused on judo so much this last year. But yeah, I'm always happy to roll, man. I'm good for about 6 minutes, and I can't break your guard if you get me in a good one. I prefer side control because that's easier to control people. But butterfly guards, all right. Spider guard, fuck it. You give me the spider guard, I'm fucked. I do not know what to do from spider guard. What would you recommend someone that wants to watch Star Wars for the first time? Start with episode 1 or episode 4? This is a hot debate. This is a debate because it's kind of like, who is this person? Does this person know what Star Wars is? Because if they do, then I say episode 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, and then 7, 8, 9. Just because of that's the way they released. And also, I'm a big advocate of watching the originals first because you really get the feel of what true Star Wars is, like Star Wars at its height. And you get to be surprised when you find out that Darth Vader is Luke Skywalker's father. But with episode 1, 2, and 3, you watch the prequels before you watch the originals, you don't get that reveal. It's kind of a shock that they... Well, I mean, what else could you have really done in George Lucas's shoes? I mean, it would have been hard to watch episodes 1, 2, and 3 and not really reveal that Darth Vader's Anakin Skywalker. You could have left it open-ended, but it really depends on who you're focusing on. There's a lot of rewritten history that you would have to do if you want to change that up. But I think episode 4 is a great place to start. What sucks now is that there are people who are my age, if not younger, or just people in general who haven't seen Star Wars. They'll watch the prequels and they'll go, well, this is more modern. This feels more flashy. It feels more blockbuster. This is what I'm used to with movies. Some people, if they've never seen Star Wars or if they watched the prequels before they watched the originals, may look at the original trilogy and go, man, this is just boring. Like, this is just... I've seen this movie so many times before, and it's hard to explain to them, well, the reason you've seen A New Hope so many times before is because nothing before A New Hope was A New Hope. This was the first to ever do it. That's why it's such a trope now with movies. So it's a big debate, but I would probably say go for number 4. Do you think there will be Old Republic movies at some point? At some point, yes. Soon, probably not. Let's see. We got Old Republic stuff here. That's what's great. I can just skip in and out. No lag. Nothing. Look at that. Right over to Mando. Boom. Rise of Skywalker. God help us. Old Republic movies, maybe one day. I wouldn't count on it just because of the production value that we would want from it as a fan. But I do think we could get them as a show eventually. I really was counting on David Benioff and D.B. Weiss to go after this, but when it was revealed, they were let go, but their scripts were apparently supposed to be about the dawn of the Jedi, like the Jedi Order at its start. So it's older than Old Republic, but Old Republic is such a unique era, and it seems like we're going into that. I mean, there's the Knights of the Old Republic remake or sequel, whatever that's being in the works by Aspire. So we have that in the pipeline, and that will open the vault of Old Republic stuff. So will we get a movie at some point? Yeah, probably. Maybe not this decade, maybe not the 2020s, but 2030 seems like a decent time for that. I don't know. It's hard to predict something like that because it's like, is it going to be Old Republic that we know, like the ones we're watching right now, or is it going to be a new rebrand of the Old Republic? Because I don't know. The technology for Star Wars is always interesting where, like, you watch the original trilogy and the sequels, and it's kind of like older technology. And that's because the original trilogy was set, in the 70s and 80s. But then you get to, like, the prequels and anything before, and it's like, I don't know, luminous highways and whatnot. Like, everything's great. You should be renamed a Star Wars Honesty. I don't know. Some people think I lie about stuff, which I do find funny. I don't know why anyone would think I try to lie about it. I mean, everyone lies in their life, which sucks. But when it comes to Star Wars, it's like, what do I have to lie about? I don't have anything to gain from lying to you folk. Unless I'm, making up like fake rumors or something like that, then money-wise, yeah. Eckhart's talked about the Rise of Skywalker concept art. There were a lot of cool shop designs, but then it wasn't included probably because they rushed it. Yeah, there was a lot of concepts that you saw for Rise of Skywalker that didn't make it into the final. I'm trying to get to the Rise of Skywalker footage. Oh, this is just, there we go. And I skipped right past it again. You know what? Maybe I shouldn't be skipping around so much. Yeah, the Rise of Skywalker had some cool, cool concept art of like that baby head with the like spider creature on top of it. That was kind of cool. Just interesting thoughts and ideas on where to go with stuff. I really saw this with the Colin Trevorrow version of Episode 9, Duel of the Fates. But you also have to remember, what they put in concept art is kind of loosely based on what they know about the story. Sometimes, like, the director will literally just say, make some concept art, just kind of, free will it. And they take a lot of inspiration from concept art. But even if we see certain concept art that we like let's say the one with the baby, the head, the Sith Lord guy who was on top of the baby, who was going to teach not Ryan Johnson. Why the fuck was I going to say Ryan Johnson? Who was going to teach Ben Solo or Kylo Ren something about the dark side. We see that on the concept art. We're like, that's cool. That should have been in the movie. Then we actually see it in the movie. And we're going, what the fuck was that? Is that a giant baby head with a creature on top of it? That's weird. So it's kind of a fine line, and it's not always what you would expect. David the Master 2021 opinion on Bruce Lee. Okay, as someone who follows mixed martial arts, I understand there's a lot of MMA guys who are like, oh, he never fought in a real fight. He never did anything real. He's not a real martial artist. Bruce Lee was the first mixed martial artist. He trained multiple different things. I personally, I do know people who have trained with Bruce Lee, like one-on-one. And that's one of the great things about being in Texas and doing karate is that you met a lot of people. I met a guy named Chance Burleson, and he not only fought Bruce Lee, he fought Chuck Norris, and he actually calls Chuck Norris Carlos Norris because that's his real name. So I got to meet people who actually got to train with Bruce Lee, and like I'm talking like kickboxers who they weren't Muay Thai champions because that's Muay Thai in Thailand and whatnot, but I'm like kickboxers who fought in the American Kickboxing Association back in like the 80s and whatnot, and they would tell me like, dude, Bruce could mess all of us up. Like he was great. I think the difference between Bruce today, like if Bruce Lee fought today, he would get killed in an MMA fight in the sense of, yeah, someone takes him down, they're probably going to be able to submit him. Sure. But if it's a real world fight, I think he could kill almost most MMA fighters. There's weight classes for a reason. But Bruce Lee didn't train to win in a competition of you take your opponent to the ground, you ground and pound them, you win for 5 rounds, you win on the scorecards. Bruce Lee trained to kill people. And that's the difference. I mean, he was a true martial artist. So, yeah. I have a lot of high respect for good old Bruce Lee. Lanky Giant says, genuine question here. I'm not joking. What the hell is American football? Like, how does it work exactly? It just looks to me like rip off rugby. You're probably right. It shouldn't even be called football because it's not like actual football, what we call soccer here in America. It literally is guys going up and down a field to get a ball. And I don't know. It's not that fun anymore. David the Master 2021 says, favorite Matthew McConaughey movie? Interstellar, yeah. Or we could say Wolf of Wall Street because he was in there for a brief moment. Gungan Army says, every time I do a Star Wars marathon, I only end up watching the prequels and the OT. I just can't bring myself to watch the sequels. I get burned out sometimes even before then, man. I've seen all the movies so many times that when I get to the originals, even Revenge of the Sith, I've seen the first 6 Star Wars films at least. I've seen them so many times throughout my childhood, they put me to sleep. And it's not because they're bad or boring. It's just because familiarity is comfort. And when I'm watching them and I'm sitting on a couch and I get the parts of it, I'm like, I love this movie. I'm gone because I've just seen it countless times. It's just hard to keep up with them unless I go see them in a movie theater or something like that. All right. Behind on comments, sorry. Catching up. When is the Bob Iger cut coming out? Yeah, I have no earthly idea. Do you think Lolita Luna? Huh, interesting name. Do you think we can have more Star Wars content after Episode 9 in the future? Yes, but what would it be about? I mean, isn't there peace throughout the galaxy? It's the same situation that we had after the original trilogy, but different. So it's like, how much do you really want to like? Did we really defeat the evil this time? Is the First Order or the Final Order still around? Like, are there more Sith in the world? Like, there's a lot to unpack there in terms of what we do with like the Force and the Jedi. But other than that, man, I don't really know how much I want after Episode 9. Certain characters I do want to see, but I'm going to be really annoyed with it if we go after Episode 9 and it's like, oh, we're forming a new republic, a new republic where it's a new government system and we're all for the people and everything. It's like, isn't that what we just did after the original trilogy? I mean, I swear to God, the sequels really wrote themselves into a corner with that timeline because it's so limiting on it's exactly the same as the original trilogy, like exactly the same. And how... like, where do you go from there? Like, if you go into something like the Final Order is still around, the First Order is still around after Episode 9, then it's kind of like, well, aren't we just doing Heir to the Empire, but after Episodes 7, 8, 9 instead of after Episodes 4, 5, and 6? It almost breaks my mind thinking about how stupid some of the decisions have been made over there. Like, it's awful. It's awful, some of the stuff they decided on. Comet Star said, what kind of karate do you do? I do Kempo, my bad. And I just got my black belt last week. Isn't Kempo sword fighting? Let me Google that real quick within a millisecond. Roku Kempo. See if I recognize that at all. Kempo. No, I think you might have misspelled it, but it's all right. We're American. Oh, okay. No, it's actual like karate and katas and all that stuff. I did a lot of Japanese karate when I started doing tournaments, and Korean, of course, is where it was rooted in. I did a style at first called Ishinryu, which is Japanese, and it's a guy who implemented 5 different styles. So mine was it's kind of karate quotation marks. It's literally Taekwondo in terms of there's a lot of kicks, but we implemented a lot of punches too. So it's not like someone's like, hey, throw a jab, cross hook, and then an uppercut. I'm going to be like, what? That's easy to do, but technique's a big part too. So congratulations on getting your black belt though. That's always something to be proud of, but don't stop there. Continue your martial arts journey. Go do some jiu-jitsu, go do some judo, fuck them up. Lincoln Giant says Star Wars only. I don't suppose you've heard of Telltale Games coming out and saying they'll be changing Finn's character in The Rise of Skywalker, like it's official statement or not a rumor. Yeah, I heard about that. I heard that they were continuing Finn's story in ways that The Rise of Skywalker didn't. Like basically post Rise of Skywalker, they're going to continue Finn's story. So I'm I'm happy about that because that's what we've wanted for a while. That's what we were saying that we wanted with Finn's character. We want something more, and it seems like they're kind of listening to us now. So I'm happy about that. At least these guys are gonna fulfill it. Thank you, Gungan Army. He says the Eye of Webbish Bog is the Spider Baby thing. It was filmed but then scrapped. In my opinion, it should have left in because it would have slowed down the pacing on Mustafar. Yeah, that Mustafar scene was instant. Like he went in and he came out within like 2 minutes. So that would have been cool to see. But like I said, they have some concepts that they like and then they throw out. I'm surprised they actually filmed this and then cut it because this would have been a great thing to add into it. Antas says, did you see the George Lucas Panasonic advertisement? They're just amazing. Oh, bro, did I see him? I think I have a let me see if I can put it up here real quick. I have like footage of George Lucas just being a fucking meme. Videos. I think it's in my After Lucas folder, the one I did for the documentary. There's a Japanese commercial, funny moments. How long is that? 8 minutes. There we go. All right. See if I can pause this one. I gotta turn off the sound.
Pattern, like crying. And that kind of stuff. Not this kind of.
Borrow that microphone for a second.
Oh my God, George is perfect. Dude, there's some great, bro. This one, this Panasonic one, makes you like wonder if this dude was tripping balls. Look at this.
Thinking of new dreams. Georgie Lucas. I dream.
Yeah, Georgie Lucas. Look at that beautiful, strapping young man. None says mid-70s like this kind of George Lucas. What the fuck is this? No, this is 80s. This is after Empire Strikes Back. They just walk into the video, and then an Ewok comes out of nowhere, and he literally just holds hands with them. And then look at this. Who are these people? Good God. We'll have some George Lucas B-roll floating in the background now. Drunken Yoda says Norris would come to our black belt Ting Sudo test. Bruce is number one. Yeah, Ting Sudo is a popular. That's a Korean one for sure. I remember that one. Never took it, but I know people who have. Going through, who would win, Yoda or Hulk? Probably Yoda, just because he can use the Force. I mean, Hulk's cool and all, but what's he gonna do if he can't like even put his feet on the ground? When do you think the Rian Johnson trilogy will release? I'm assuming that's what he was trying to say. I don't know, man. I don't. That's like a big one of like, is it even going to happen now? I'm gonna see if I can get some Rian Johnson B-roll up in here. Wait, no, I'm not. I'm not going to do that because then I have to do it for every subject we do. Or we'll just go back to the classic B-roll of Clone Wars. The Rian Johnson trilogy probably comes out in 2029 at the earliest, if it even happens at this point. It'll be so far out from The Last Jedi that people almost forgot that he even did a Star Wars movie. The Phantom Menace will either die out by then or make a big reemergence if he gets confirmed to do a trilogy. I don't have any idea what's happening with that anymore because when they announced they were having 3 movies, they were doing 2022, 2024, and 2026. Everyone got delayed by a year, 2023, 2025, 2027. So it was like, cool, we have 3 movies. Which one of those, if not all of them, are the Rian Johnson one? We assumed that one of them wasn't going to be the Rian Johnson because I personally thought 2023 was going to be Taika Waititi because he said he was writing the script. It lined up with schedule and everything. Nope, turns out I was wrong. It's Rogue Squadron by Patty Jenkins. Okay, well, then let's just be logical here. We have 2 people who are confirmed doing their Star Wars movies. You have Kevin Feige, who now has a writer for his Star Wars movie, and his writer is not the Taika Waititi movie because Taika Waititi is writing the Star Wars movie that he's making and directing with the girl who wrote 1917. So Taika Waititi's movie is already being written, and that means it's likely coming out in 2025. So by default, that means that Kevin Feige's movie is 2027. So then what the hell does that leave Rian Johnson? Is he getting his movie? If he's not, just tell me. Just tell me. Lucasfilm, come out and just say, hey, we like The Last Jedi, but we realized we don't really want to do a trilogy for some time. So thank you. Sure. I'd be okay with that. But this whole like, oh, it's happening. We're working on it. We've been talking. You've been talking to Ryan for some time now. All right, he's going to make a sequel to Knives Out, Knives Out 2, whatever. That's going to happen. After that, he either goes back to Star Wars or he never goes back to Star Wars. I've said it with Darth Daddy Lunga on Tatooine many times. Made him hold the same opinion on this. Of we do not think that. Well, I think Ryan Johnson's trilogy is happening. He doesn't think it's happening at all. But I think, and so does he, that the Ryan Johnson trilogy can only really happen if Kathleen Kennedy is Lucasfilm president. If she's not Lucasfilm president, I just don't see it in the little 8-ball anymore. I'm sorry, I just don't see it. But man, it's one of those like who knows? Only the higher ups at Lucasfilm know, and everything is pointing to it still happening. But don't know what's going to happen on that. Buck Nasty, by the way, funny name. It says, do you think with so much Star Wars content, it will lose the magic / wonder that it once had? No offense to Star Wars and to anyone who's going to take offense by this. It lost the magic in the late 90s, early 2000s. The prequels took away that so-called magic. Back in even the special edition kind of like didn't mess it up, but it was like, oh, it's still always going to have that magic. I mean, even if people like us who don't like the Disney sequels, there's still people who look at those movies and they're magical moments for them. They're wonder moments. But even looking at the Clone Wars, I mean, I was watching the Mortis arc with Miss Only just now, like literally less than an hour ago. That still had some magic and wonder to it that made me go, wow, that really keeps my interest in Star Wars. It makes me want to know more and see more. What else was there? Movie-wise, there hasn't been a lot, but I mean, look at The Mandalorian. Is the moment that we had with Din Djarin and Grogu where they left each other, was that not a magical moment? I mean, there wasn't a lot of force powers with it, but Luke showed up, wrecked the whole ship, and that was really cool. But those were the moments that you're like, wow, like they stay ingrained in your head forever, and they mean a lot. So I still think it is still going to have that. I think it's going to take a lot to take that away from Star Wars because the world is so vast and big. It's a galaxy far, far away, and it's a timeline that you can expand as long as you want. There's no limits to what you can do in Star Wars. There are some limits in creativity-wise that we will put upon ourselves, but sky's the limit, man. Sky's the limit with Star Wars, and I think it's going to take a long time for it to lose that because you look at something like Marvel, like DC. They've been around for a lot longer than Star Wars. I mean, I don't even know how many years. I really haven't kept track of stuff like that. But if that can still go strong today with Marvel movies and DC movies and just the fandom still finding loyalty in the comics and the books and the animated shows and then the actual movies that they see, if that can still happen for those franchises, I imagine it's still going to happen with Star Wars. I mean, look at Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings has been around for, has it been 100 years yet? Like the books itself have been around for some time, and we're still getting an Amazon series. Like I still want more Lord of the Rings in live action. And I still want the story to continue. Like the books are done. J.R.R. Tolkien's passed on, but I still want more, you know? You're thinking of kendo. Yeah, I was thinking of kendo. Comment Star says it's more of a defense type of karate. Yeah, most martial arts are trying to be defense oriented, and that's a lot of karate of like, let's just protect ourselves. Lanky Giant says, I'm calling it now. Ryan Johnson's trilogy ain't happening. I'm almost on the board of Ryan Johnson and saying it's happening just to say I can told you so. That's all. That's the one I always say. Could you please do your George Lucas's high on weed impression? I was about to say in Persian. Maybe if I find the right bit for it. Drunken Yoda says, Krav Maga is my favorite martial arts form. Not mine, man. Krav Maga is really, because that came from Israel, if I remember, or maybe Iran, but I'm leaning towards saying it's from Israel, the Israeli army, and it's very brutal in the sense of like, I don't know, the guys that I've known who've done Krav Maga are like meatheads who are like, yeah, bro, you take me down with that jujitsu shit, I'll bite your dick off. I'm like, what the fuck? Why? And they're like, because Krav Maga is meant to like be very realistic, which is cool. I like stuff that is like truly self-defense of, you know, what do you do if someone pulls a gun on you? What do you do if someone pulls a knife on you? And that is good for that situation. But Krav Maga works on someone who's never fought a day in their life. Krav Maga would not work on anyone who's actually trained, unless they only do like Taekwondo, and then you just throw a jab at them and they'll freak out because, you know, you're not allowed to punch in Taekwondo. Luna says, the sequel isn't bad, but this movie doesn't expand a lot. Star Wars universe like the prequels. Yeah, that's kind of what I was saying in the video I did yesterday. the prequels really expand upon the Star Wars universe. I mean, look at the clips that we're seeing now, just the Bad Batch. A lot of this stuff comes directly from the prequel era. The sequel trilogy didn't really expand upon the Star Wars universe like the prequels did. And the original trilogy just kind of introduced us to the Star Wars universe. The original trilogy was really about the characters. Sequel trilogy was trying to do anything with the characters, but didn't do great with it. And it just didn't do much with it either. Like, we really didn't get to see these new planets, these new cultures, like anything that was really interesting to go explore. Like Exegol, that was kind of cool, and that was a great idea for a planet. And I'm happy that they're exploring that more in the comic books, like with Darth Vader. But other than that, man, like, is there really anything from the sequel trilogy that I was like, that's beautiful, I got to see that again? Like, I want them to go back to that. No, not really. Like, one of the favorite planets that I have right now is Dathomir, because we get to see it in the Clone Wars, and then we get to play on that planet in the Jedi Fallen Order game. So there's stuff like that where I'm like, wow, that's impressive. Like, they expanded on it just a little bit, and that comes from the prequel era because of the Clone Wars. One video I'm going to try to make this week is going to be about the Mandalorian kind of being what the Clone Wars was to the prequels. The Mandalorian is the same way to the sequels, where maybe the Mandalorian can kind of redeem the sequels in some way. I know people are going to say they're retconning it, which if you say that, you're an idiot. But besides that, I really think that the Mandalorian can make the sequel era a lot better and more vast and more expansive. Like even what the planets that we've seen in the Mandalorian so far and what they've done with that show, a lot of us are really happy with it because it's expanding the Star Wars universe, and it's also limiting it in terms of characters that in the first season it was characters we didn't know. Second season was characters we do know. So the story is a lot more vast, but still it's expanding so much lore into the Star Wars universe. And I think that's something that can help the sequels when the timeline kind of runs out. So we'll really have to see how things play out with that. But I really think that the Mandalorian can do that for the sequel trilogy, kind of like the prequels did good from the Clone Wars, because the Clone Wars can really improve on the prequel characters like Anakin and Obi-Wan and the relationship. Lanky Giant says, do you feel Ahsoka is being overused? I mean, I feel like she's appearing in everything nowadays. I've made this argument for about a year or so now, and I've gotten some flack for it, and I justified in some sense. I like Ahsoka. Don't get me wrong. Ahsoka was an annoying character for the first 2 seasons of the Clone Wars, but really became better. But I don't need her in everything. I don't need a show about her. Sure, like, that was expected. She's so popular, but like, yeah, her being in Rebels kind of made sense, but it has gotten to the point where I'm like, hey, can we end her story at some point? Like, I really don't want to see Ahsoka survive up until the sequel trilogy. Like, for me, I'm like, she's not overpowered, but it's getting to the point where it's like, hey, what did she really do? Like, okay, that's not fair to say. She did everything. She literally did everything. But it's just getting to the point where it's like everyone's story has to end, and I'm tired of seeing her. Like, I want a new character. Can we get a new Ahsoka? Can we get something different? But I think the Ahsoka Tano series, or the sequel that we'll get to the Rebels, will hopefully wrap up her story, because it's got to wrap up soon. Like, I can't keep doing this Ahsoka Tano stuff. She's cool. She was great. She's a big part of my childhood growing up, being a Star Wars fan, watching the Clone Wars. But at some point, we got to move on, guys. We got to move on. I am so sorry. I am so sorry, Dave Filoni, but we got to move on. Max says, what do you think Taika's movie is about? Maybe Dawn of the Jedi. That's a theory a lot of people have been throwing around. And the reason they say that is because when we get to the announcement for Taika Waititi's Star Wars film, you saw like a big kind of, I don't know, it's like a diamond-shaped thing, how Mortis looks, basically, the planet Mortis itself. That was in the background of when Kathleen Kennedy was announcing it and saying it was going to be very different, like a very different approach for Star Wars. So some people are speculating, because that's behind the cover for Dawn of the Jedi. Some people are speculating that he's going to cover that, which wouldn't surprise me, since Lucasfilm had David Benioff and D.B. Weiss working on it. So it seems like they want to explore that era a little bit. It seems like they're more open to that than they are anything, after, I guess, like post Rise of Skywalker. So I think we will see a Dawn of the Jedi movie or story in the near future. Star Wars Only, I think he was talking more about Star Wars fatigue than a little perception of magic in the universe. Oh, yeah, okay. Fatigue-wise, sure, yeah, but I thought he was talking about not magic in the universe. I'm talking like magic by us audience standards. Like, we watch it and we're like, oh, that was a big, powerful moment. I don't know. I don't think Star Wars fatigue is going to be a big deal unless we have a movie every year. And I think that's one of the good things about Kathleen Kennedy is that she knows that. Bootneck98 says, this is definitely a hot take. I have Siege of Mandalore is only a 4 out of 10, currently writing a critique on it, planning a release first part of 4 in late 2021. All right, man, first part of 4. If you're going to do 4 parts, release it all within like a month. Do one a week. You can't draw it on too long. But yeah, I think that Siege of Mandalore is like a 9 out of 10. It was pretty great. It looked like a movie. I enjoyed it for what it was. Didn't really have any complaints about it. I didn't love season 7. Like the first 8 episodes were kind of dry, but those Siege of Mandalore episodes were great. Lanky Giant says, Star Wars Only. I saw a clip from Chatooine show of you saying that Mandalorian is better written than all the previous trilogies. I strongly disagree. No, I'm trying to think like what I said that in context of, but I mean, original trilogy wise, those are great movies and I love them, but they have writing problems. I mean, Luke and Leia kissing and then becoming brother and sister. There's a lot of stuff that just wasn't planned out. The Return of the Jedi is my favorite movie, but like the Ewoks destroying the Empire, like stuff like that's just kind of corny. And you know, there's bad dialogue in almost every single Star Wars trilogy, but mainly the first 2 originals and the prequels because they were written by George Lucas, who he himself says he's not good with dialogue. So also the prequels have plot holes and they have things that messed up the original trilogy, like Leia remembering her mom and the fact that Obi-Wan aged like 30 years and 19 years, it seemed, and just the fact that they had to separate Luke and Leia, but Luke gets the fucking Tatooine planet and then Leia gets to become royalty on Alderaan. So yeah, there's some problems with the writing in all 3 of the trilogies, but I think it's very fair to say that The Mandalorian is better written than all of them, just because of the characters that we care about, how limited it is, but also vast that it takes the universe. Leor says, greeting from Israel. Hello, brother. He says, as a Star Wars Only fan and MMA fighter, 14 years next month. Damn, 14 years? Congrats, bro. I would love to do sparring with you just to find out what the fuck your problem is. You'd probably find out wrestling is my problem. You shooting a double leg on me, I'm going to pray to God you don't land it. Like, you shooting a single, I'll do a whizzer, and then I'll, try to do an Uchimata out of it. That's probably the only defense. And then, well, there's Sasai from it too, I think. Yeah, no. Wrestling would be my downfall in any MMA fight. That's why I've always been doing judo and jujitsu. And my school now has wrestling classes, so I'm happy about that. I do want to work on my striking in terms of like ground and pound. Like if I get you to the ground, I can do jujitsu from there. But like when it comes to ground and pound striking, I don't know. I would feel like a dick, man. Even if I'm winning, like if I'm on top of the guy and I'm punching him, like I would apologize the entire time. I'm like, I'm so sorry. I know this hurts. I'm gonna use an elbow now. I'm so fucking sorry. I just feel bad. Who would win, Sauron or Sidious? Oh, Sauron, bro. He is a fucking Valar. Is he a Valar or a Maiar? I think he's a Maiar. But yeah, they're basically like angels and gods of the Lord of the Rings universe. He would wreck Sidious. I'm terribly sorry to say so. Fofo says, big shout out to Fofo. He says, Star Wars Episode 10 through 12, the Second Order rises from the pieces of the First Order. God help us. Yeah, it would be like the final order. The Third Order. Oh God, they just go like all out. They call it the Third Reich. Like, oh no, Star Wars may have gone too far in a few places. Yeah, no, I don't think I want a sequel trilogy to the sequel trilogy. What would that even be about? Like, I think some people were speculating that Episode 9 should be a 2-parter. So we'd have, would it be 9 and then 9 part 2, or maybe just make it 4 and do an Episode 10 to. People were saying this to fix the prequels, not the prequels, my bad, the sequels, mainly The Last Jedi. Didn't happen, of course, but God, what would they really do with a 9, 11, 10, 11, 12? Like, Drunken Yoda says, glad I missed the bit. You did class. Oh, bit, yeah. It will end the threat, though. Yeah, survive, and that's why it's my favorite. You're correct, though. Yeah, no, Krav Maga. He's talking about Krav Maga. Krav Maga's brutal. Like, they're like, bro, we'll just fucking. You get me to the ground, I'll bite your Adam's apple off. How about that? And you're, what are you gonna do then? Pull guard from there, asshole. Maybe we saw Tython and Mando as a setup for Dawn of the Jedi. That would make a lot of sense because Tython, you saw the Seeing Stone. I think that's where the Jedi originated from in the old books and maybe in canon as well. So we could see that in the Taika Waititi movie if it's done with Jedi, and it could deal with the Seeing Stone and whatnot, which would make sense because Taika worked with Mandalorian as a show and a series, and so him doing a Star Wars movie that deals with like some parts of it, like in terms of planets, that would make sense, and I wouldn't be entirely opposed to it. I do want to explore Tython as a planet, just in general. David Chappell says, Ahsoka needs an ending, but I'm sure they will end it in an epic way. Agree they need to move on, but lessons learned will mean fan service is critical for this character. Yeah, a lot of like it seems like almost everybody likes Ahsoka. There's not that many people who don't. If you follow my Instagram, I put up a picture on my Instagram story a day or two ago where in my neighborhood someone had a Ahsoka Lives, and then on the side of their window they had like a big poster of her. So I mean this is a neighborhood I wouldn't expect people to really like Star Wars like that. So it was like, oh wow, like someone older even knows who Ahsoka Tano is and really likes her. Nimbus 2000 says, do you think Mando's helmet in Doc Ondar's shop on Batuu is a real helmet or forgery? Could this be a hint about the end of the series? Ooh, I mean, I don't think it'd be a hint of it. I think they just do it for like, appeal. I mean, they also have every lightsaber ever in Doc Ondar's shop. If you guys don't know what that is, it's the Galaxy's Edge, like weapon room, basically. Like you could find a lot of cool stuff. I bought I need to sell it because there was no point of doing it. This was a year ago now because it was February, but I went to Galaxy's Edge and I spent like $200 in the Doc Ondar shop. Like I bought a Sith shrine. It has Vader, it has Darth Maul, and it has Darth Sidious. And I bought like 4 mugs that were like, one was Jedi, one was Imperial, one was Sith, and then the other one was I can't remember. I think one of them broke. I'm kind of sad about that. But they were pretty cool. So yeah, I spent $200 there. But I don't think the Mando helmet being there is the sign of the story ending. I think they just do that for I don't know, the appeal of Star Wars, like the feeling of it, just to make you feel like you're actually in a Star Wars universe. Star Wars only, or no, here he tags me. Star Wars only, what the fuck is wrong with you and hating the idea of retconning the sequels? Are you anti-retcon or what? Yeah, I don't like them, but let me put it like this. For all you people who are like, we got to retcon the sequels, then in order to fix the sequels, I'm going to retcon the prequels. Because if George Lucas had made a good trilogy with the prequels, he would have never sold the franchise and he would never gotten the sequels. So it's all about the prequels. The prequels suck. That's the whole thing right there. That's the kind of logic you guys are using. If you don't like the sequels, here's a good thing about them. Don't fucking watch them. You don't have to deal with them. Like, I don't like what they did to Luke Skywalker, so you know what I do? I don't watch The Last Jedi. To me, it's canon, sure, but in my head canon, it's not. And fuck you, because it's my head canon. And so, yeah, I'm anti-retcon, not because I like the sequels, because I think the whole idea of retconning something just because some guy on the internet, doesn't like it is stupid. Like, I didn't like Batman versus Superman, the movie. And if you do, I don't think you know anything about movies. But that's fine. If you like it, I'm not going to be like, oh, we got to retcon it because, Zack Snyder's an awful director and doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. Like, I don't fucking care. Like, let people enjoy shit. Like, good God. Imagine telling someone who loves the sequels, like some kid in like 10 years who grew up with the sequels and idolizes someone like Poe, maybe Finn, or maybe it's a girl and loves Rey's character. Imagine telling them in 10 years, oh, by the way, that never happened. It was retconned. It was all a dream. Like your story you love doesn't matter. Like, come on, bro. Like it's one of those things like it doesn't really matter that much. Max 4646 says, what are your thoughts on the J.D. Dillard Star Wars movie that was reported by the Hollywood Reporter back in February 2020? I have been trying to solve that riddle for all time, basically a year now because it's last year. Yeah, they announced that. Well, the Hollywood Reporter scooped it. Lucasfilm never confirmed it. But they did say they don't know if it was going to be a direct-to-Disney Plus movie or a theatrical release. So maybe, just maybe, J.D. Dillard is the one directing the Kevin Feige Star Wars movie. Maybe that's why they pinned him. But J.D. Dillard also has ties to someone like J.J. Abrams. So he may be something from the Bad Robot production company over there. There's a lot of mystery on what's going to happen with that guy because maybe he's not the Kevin Feige one. Because remember, in the report, they said he was pinned as a director and a co-writer alongside of another writer. So then he probably isn't the Kevin Feige movie. And the Patty Jenkins movie is already being, Patty Jenkins and Taika Waititi are directing their own. So maybe J.D. Dillard is doing a Disney Plus movie, or maybe he is doing another theatrical release for a Star Wars movie that we just don't know what it's going to be about and when it's going to come out. Maybe it's going to be like a surprise release. Like imagine if the year is, let's say, 2025. We just got done with Taika Waititi's movie in December, and then come January, it's December, and we're like, all right, we're not going to get another Star Wars movie until 2027. So 2 years, not a big deal. But in January of 2026, they come out and they're like, hey, by the way, we have a surprise release for you. There's another movie coming out this December, or maybe even in May. Maybe they change it up. So there's possibilities with that, but there's so much unknown about his movie, what it's going to be about, if it's happening, if it's being released at all, where it's going to be released. A lot of questions. All right, going through the comments. Sorry. Oliver says, advice on what, Oliver? What do you need? Let me go through the. I don't see anything else you commented, buddy. I'll give you any life advice I can. Oh boy, this chat's getting big. Y'all are arguing with whatever the fuck that guy's name is. Bad Robot, more like bad movies. Yeah, they made good movies. I've liked them. Some 8 says, how often do you go back and watch the original trilogy and the prequel trilogy? Probably about once a year. Once a year is normally what I've been doing for the past year or so. Anytime there's like an episodic film that comes out, I would watch it prior to that. But other than that, nah. I've seen them so many times. Like I said, it's hard to keep on watching them. For me, like right now, I'm rewatching Clone Wars, and I haven't rewatched it in a long time. So there's that. And then after that, I'll probably rewatch Rebels. God fucking help me. Leor says, no worries, bro. I think my wrestling is pretty shit, so we wouldn't like it to go there. I have fun the most good old punching your face until you can see straight. Yeah, I don't spar hard or anything, but I do love sparring. Tony Stark says, Discord squad, where you at? Thank you for saying that. I forgot to put the banner for that. Yeah, if you guys haven't joined my Discord yet, follow me on Twitter and Instagram, of course, but I have a Discord, and it's now over 600 members. So really good group of people, and we have a new guy who's running it. Me and the guy who kind of helps me with just most stuff. He was running Discord for a while, but he's got a job and he does other stuff with animation, so it's hard to keep up with it. So we have a new person running our Discord server. I think it's Strays. I think so. Shout out to him, the new head mod over there. Oh, Oliver says, I think YouTube keeps deleting my question. Oh shit! I hope you're not asking me how to like kill somebody or something. Tony Stark says, do you watch the despecialized or special editions? I don't have a version of the despecialized editions. I have the VHS copies of the original back at my mom's house in Texas. So I can't really go get that unless I have a VHS. I have a VCR, and who the fuck is a VCR in 2021? And then the Harmy's despecialized editions are on eBay, but I need to find like just the right one. I need to find like the Blu-ray disc of it that looks good. Like everything has got to look good for me to like buy it. But I think you can get them online pretty easily. They're pretty free. Like it's just there. You don't have to pay Harmy. I think the deal with it is that you have to legally say that you have your own versions of the original trilogy, because you're not legally allowed to resell the original trilogy, even if you did a special edition. So I watch the special editions, but I would prefer to watch the despecialized. You think Disney will ever release Star Wars Detours in its entirety? Nope, not at all. I can say that right now. I know there are guys who actually have like most of the episodes of that series. I would hope to reach out to those guys one day and ask them if I can get my hands on it, just because I would like to see all the episodes that they had, just because it seems funny and seems like something I would like to be like, oh, I got to watch it and I can tell you guys what it's like and what certain episodes were about and whatnot. It just seemed funny. It is crazy that they had so many episodes made and never released them. I thought that was just a unfortunate situation. J&T Cobb says, what are your thoughts on Godzilla versus Kong and the Snyder Cut? Well, appreciate the super chat, buddy. Okay, so I saw Godzilla when it came out. I think I was in middle school. Loved it. Not enough Godzilla in it, though, and not enough Bryan Cranston either. I saw Kong. I hate spiders, so there's a part of that movie that pissed me off. But other than that, it was a really good movie. I did not see Godzilla King of Monsters, but I kind of know everything that happened in it. Mothra came in and I think she sacrificed herself for Kong against one of the monsters. And then there was is it Ghidorah, the big one, the one with the 3 heads? I know Godzilla fought that and killed it, all 3 of the heads. So I don't have much of an opinion on Godzilla versus Kong. I'm going to see it. I know there's a big meme right now of Godzilla is basically going to wreck Kong because, he's a freaking giant lizard who can breathe fire and survive nuclear radiation. He needs nuclear radiation, and King Kong is just a monkey, big monkey. And so that's the meme. So yeah, I suspect Godzilla will win, but I really like the way they set up that whole thing. I love at the end of Kong, you see the footage and they're talking about all these titans, and they're bro, they had a big war back then. Stuff like that was really cool. So I'm excited to see and learn more about that and this upcoming one. The Snyder Cut is something I supported from the start. I'm not first of all, I don't think Zack Snyder is that great of a filmmaker. 300 was cool. What else has he done? Batman versus, if you show me Batman versus Superman and you tell me this is the best Zack Snyder can do, I'm going to look at you and say he's not that good then. But I like the idea that this guy finally gets to release his cut of the Justice League, how he wanted to do it, because Justice League was awful. I'm sorry. I don't know how much of that was him, how much of that was a studio, how much of that was the new director, but good God, that was that was just a movie that no one should have ever seen. And Zack Snyder, it seems like he kind of was in over his head when it came to making the DC universe and connecting it. It seemed like it would appeal to diehard DC fans, or maybe even just specifically Snyder fans. Apparently I can't speak with my S's, but specifically Snyder fans would like the DC movies and the DC universe he set up. But I feel like casual audiences, or someone like me who casually likes DC stuff, I like the video games, like Batman, I like all that shit. I love the Green Lantern Corps. I love learning about the Black Lanterns, the orange one, because there's only one of them because of greed and whatnot. That stuff is cool. But anyways, I like the idea of the Snyder Cut because it's his version of the film. It's him getting his say. And it's the fans who demanded it. It was a big fan movement. The fan base is a little weird because it's they won. You're getting the Snyder Cut. I don't know why you guys are always into such a fuss. God, funny thing about it too. I was watching a video from that guy that everyone seems to hate named Jody's Corner yesterday, and he was the video was called something like a mystery source, and the big thing of it was I'm revealing information that has not been around for 4 years, his secret objective to making all the stuff the Zack Snyder. And I was oh, okay, I'll watch this. I'm kind of interested. What's his inside source has to say? Because I believe him. I believe he's got a source. And then bro, it's 20 minutes in before he actually gets to the fucking point of the video, because he's going through this retread of history. I'm bro, just get on with it. Good God, you don't shut up. I thought the Star Wars drama was bad, and then I listened to Jody's Corner for 5 minutes about the DC fandom and everything. I can't deal with you guys. I can't. I mean, I have nothing against the guy, but I also remember the whole Ye Fisher thing. He called Ray Fisher Gay Fisher, and then makes it into Yay Fisher. And so every time he talks about Ray Fisher, he says Yay Fisher. I'm bro, you're driving it home too much. I get it. You got caught. You don't think you said Gay Fisher, but you did. And even if you didn't, it doesn't matter. Just move on with it. Move on. So DC fandom, man, that is something else. Snyder Cut, I'll watch it. It's one of the main reasons I even got HBO Max, but I watch South Park on HBO Max more than I watch the Snyder Cut. Also, they need to bring back the Harry Potter films on HBO Max. I'm so sad that they left. I love those films. Oliver says it's about creating a channel. Let's see what he says. I want to make one, but I also want to be in Hollywood. And I'm not sure making one will ruin my chances. Well, my question is, what are you trying to get into Hollywood for? First of all, fuck Hollywood. Second of all, if you're trying to get into Hollywood and you're trying to do it by film, this won't ruin your chances. If you're trying to do it let's say you're trying to be a filmmaker, then yeah, maybe it wouldn't be the best idea to, no. Having a YouTube channel and being a filmmaker is a good idea. If you're going to try to get into media Hollywood-wise and have a YouTube channel, that's an okay idea as long as you don't upset the powers that be. Louis Lecca is actually, when it comes to the Jody's Corner, he's a friend of him and Andy Signor, and a friend of Darth Eddie Lunga, and a friend of me. I love Louis Lecca. He's a good guy. But he does media stuff, and he has, I think, something called Nuke the Fridge is his actual website, and that's a lot more family-friendly. It's just news-based. It's media. He actually gets to interview countless celebrities. I mean, anything, like he interviewed the cast of The Boys and that stuff like that. So he does all-access media stuff like that, and he has a YouTube channel for it. But because his YouTube channel is geared towards that, and it's geared towards just being media-based and not overly opinionated, he can't be opinionated on that channel. So it's not going to get all the views that you would want. So if you're going for that route, it can work, but just know that there are limits to it. If you're going to be something a little bit more controversial, and I'm just going to use Doomcock as an example because he's a big channel. If you're going to do, media stuff, but you're going to critique the shit out of everything, and you're going to have your own little stuff going on there, then yeah, that's absolutely going to ruin your chance in Hollywood. But you have to be anonymous. You're delving in the Star Wars only territory here, by the way. I will admit, there's a reason I've had anonymity, and one of the reasons is not to get into Hollywood, but it deals with that aspect of what I'm talking about here. So it's a very, very fine line, and you got to be very careful with it. So don't piss off enough people, and also choose your words carefully. That's something I wish I would do more, and something I haven't done a long time ago. And I'm going to go back and delete a lot of my old videos because of the stuff I've said that, I was just a kid. Just young. Detours lives. Oh my God. Could you imagine we start that movement? Detours survives. Are we just getting the gameplay trailers now? I wonder. New weapon start. Yeah. Yeah. Detours is more like a kid-friendly Robot Chicken. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Made by the same people and everything. And it's not as funny as Robot Chicken either. Funny enough. Discord link is in the description. If you guys just click the description on this live stream, you're going to see the Discord link. So check it out there. You know how to Uwatuma says, special inside source from Reddit that's validated his own satisfaction, because if so, I trust it with my life. I'm seeing a lot about the sources on Reddit about this new EA Star Wars game that's supposed to come out this year. It is supposed to be like a shooter from EA, and it comes from Reddit, and some people are doubting the validity of the Reddit person. But I think the Reddit guy, the source who posted it on Reddit, also posted about the what was it? Was it Aspire, or was it just KOTOR in general? No, it was the ports. It was the ports for Knights of the Republic 1 and 2. He posted about that before it was confirmed by people like Jordan Mason and other more reliable sources. So he did get that right. I think that's the same person who's saying that there's going to be a new shooter from EA this year, which would surprise me. I mean, geez, we'd be getting a Star Wars game every year for like 3 or 4 years straight at that point, because 2019 we got Jedi Fallen Order, 2020 we got Star Wars Squadrons, 2021 not only are we going to get the Lego Star Wars game, but if we get another one from EA, that would be another one from them, and then 2022 we get Jedi Fallen Order. So that's like 4 or 5 Star Wars games just within a 5-year cycle, and that would be completely fine with me. But the report is also that the shooter by EA is also going to be a smaller scale Star Wars game. So I'm hoping it's not something like Squadrons where it's like $40. Well, man, maybe it is like Squadrons and I'm okay. It'd probably be like only multiplayer Star Wars or something. But like, I don't know, man. I just expect so much more from EA. You know what a thought I had today, though? Speaking of Star Wars games, Jedi Fallen Order. I love the combat and the lightsaber combat it has for that game. Imagine if we had a fight game for Star Wars. Not like Mortal Kombat, but something similar to Jedi Fallen Order where you get to play as, Sidious, Mace Windu, Darth Maul, Savage Opress, like literally every character with a lightsaber ever. There's cool characters like that, like even bounty hunters like Jango Fett, Boba Fett, Cad Bane, Bosk, Dengar. You do all that, but you make it like a fight game in Star Wars with the same combat system that Jedi Fallen Order has. If they did that, I'd be on board. That's something I think that would work really well. Rezkov says, what's your favorite Harry Potter movie? Mine is Azkaban. That one's a great one. I finally watched it this past year or so, and I thought it was really good. I watched it, but I would always kind of skip over the first 3 or 4 Harry Potter movies just because they're too corny for me. And also I hate the one Chamber of Secrets because it has the spiders. I'm telling you, I fucking hate spiders. My favorite movie from Harry Potter is probably, and this may be a hot take, Order of the Phoenix. I love the fact that, like, Harry is kind of building up Dumbledore's army, but I also love seeing him fight at the end. And I love the fight between Dumbledore and Voldemort because Dumbledore's got the Elder Wand. The motherfucker's old. He's the most powerful wizard ever. He could fuck Voldemort up if he really wanted to. He didn't, but he could have. It was just kind of a defense versus offense thing. But yeah, I like that one a lot. The last 3 or 4 are pretty good. Part 1 of the Deathly Hallows kind of drags on, but it was kind of supposed to. Star Wars only. I would ask you about Star Wars sequels again. I have something to ask. I'm overstepped my privilege. LMAO. I mean, I'm not going to infringe on your privileges, you white guilt motherfucker. Not playing. I mean, if you're going to ask something, bro, just ask it. Don't say I'm going to ask, but then don't ask. If you're going to do it, just do it. Get it over with. Yeah, you know how to ooh it to him. Star Wars only be like spiders. Why did it have to be spiders? Bro, whenever they made the second episode for season 2 of The Mandalorian, it had the spider episode. I had a friend who knows me through Star Wars, and like he runs another Instagram account called Deep Dive Star Wars, I think, or Star Wars Deep Dive. Check him out if you haven't. And he tagged me in a post making fun of me for the spider episode. Like he put up his review and he tagged me and he was like, I bet Star Wars only loved this episode. And it's funny because I did not know he remembered that I hated spiders. Some 8 says, I hate EA. I've played FIFA games for years and their servers are trash. Bro, I don't know how anyone plays sports games from EA anymore. Like, as someone who loves UFC, the UFC games suck. So UFC 3 and UFC 4, like UFC, how did UFC 4 like do worse than UFC 3? Like the graphics were even worse, and they just, I don't know. The campaign is not good. There's no like good story mode, career mode to it that's like interesting because it's the same thing every fight. EA is, when it comes to sports stuff, bro, they're awful. Like they are truly awful. I feel bad for anyone who's bought or played FIFA games or Madden games. It is the same thing every year. Just new players, different skins, worse graphics, and the same mechanics. Cannot check it. Drunken Yoda says, eye candy for Star Wars fans. Check out Howard Day YouTube channel. He created some awesome ships. Just saying you will enjoy. I've heard of his name. I don't think I've checked out his channel, but I have heard of that. Rogue Squadron between episodes 6 and 7 or after 9. I hope between 6 and 7. I feel like it's going to be around the sequel trilogy. Like, I don't think it's going to be, I think it's going to be between 6 and 7, but I think it's going to be like really close to The Force Awakens. I mean, imagine if it's actually after episode 8. Could you imagine that? Because there's a few years, right, between episode 8 and 9. So imagine if this movie takes place between that. That would be kind of interesting. But I don't think that will happen. I really don't know what's going to happen with Rogue Squadron. The design of the X-Wing that they have in the logo for it is sequel trilogy based. So I assume that's when we're going to get it. All right, here's the question about the sequels. I feel like the sequels have wrote themselves into a corner and can't go further. What do you think about the sequels going to an alternate reality or timeline instead of a complete retcon? Alternate reality or timeline is also slightly of a retcon, and I don't want to get into timeline stuff with Star Wars. If we do time travel, it's going to make me annoyed, and it's just going to open up the door for stupid possibilities. I do agree that they wrote themselves into a corner. Like, just from the start of The Force Awakens, of having the entire empire basically come back. It is literally the exact same situation that we were in with the original trilogy of, you have the empire, they're about to take out the republic, they're about to rule the world, and then they do, and then there's these rebels / resistance people who need to fight back for the people. So I'm kind of tired of it, and I do agree that they wrote themselves into a corner. But we have other things to go for. Like, Mandalorian is doing so much more justice to that timeline than the sequels ever did, and I think that's why things have gotten better so far. And Elijah, he's talking about the world between the worlds right here, and that would deal with the timeline stuff. He says it should be used sparingly. Also, I doubt it would be used for any retcons. Well, even Dave Filoni. There's an article from Dave Filoni. I actually think I have it already kind of saved and pulled up over here. Dave Filoni specifically says that it will not be like an alternate. It's not time travel. Let's see if it loads and I can read the exact quote from him. But he basically says like he's not going to use it for time travel. He says right here, I don't really think of it as time travel. It's not really a thing where you go through one door and out another in a different time. The world between worlds is really about knowledge and gaining knowledge. As the Doom Wolf says, what's in there is knowledge and destruction. You can gain knowledge of the future or futures that may happen, and you can see things that happened in the past. You can at times choose to alter them, which could be, the time travel stuff we talk about, but it's perilous to do so. And when you alter something, you don't know if that's not the way it always happened. So destruction is the other half of what's in there. And he just goes on to say that it's a dangerous game. At the end, he says, an extension of a Jedi's ability to perceive the future and the past as described in The Empire Strikes Back. So yeah, don't think it's going to be used a lot going forward. I think it's going to be used in the Ahsoka Tano series and maybe something more with Rebels. But other than that, I don't think they're going to use much of the world between worlds. I hope they use more stuff with the ones, though, the mom or the father, the son, and the daughter, because that's kind of where the world between worlds came from, and just learn more about them. I think it'd be really cool if we read the High Republic books and there's a book where one of the Jedi run into them. And because like I said, I just watched it recently, and the father even says that like there are a few who even like know that we still exist. And I'm like, well, what would Yoda do if he ran into these people? What would Yoda say about these people? Like, what do they know about the ones, and where did they come from? Like, what is their impact on the Force? There's so many questions I have about them. The Mortis gods. I mean, they're so cool, bro. It is one of my favorite arcs ever in Clone Wars. So yeah. I think we're going to wrap up the stream, though, guys. The Super Bowl starts in an hour if you're planning on watching it. If not, enjoy your Sunday. I will be back tomorrow for another normal Star Wars only video. And the next Saturday is a special Valentine's Day special live stream with Star Wars only and Miss Only. We'll be doing something, not just talking, not just doing B-roll stuff. We'll be doing something unique to Valentine's Day. So if you guys want to tune in for that, I'll be here again next Saturday, and hope you guys have a good weekend. I will see you all next time, and may the Force be with you always.